Hello, welcome to this video on efficiency. So in this video we're going to look at three different types of efficiency and the conditions for each of those types of efficiency. So when we're talking about efficiency from an economics perspective, we're talking about how well scarce resources are being used. So efficiency is about making optimal use of scarce resources. And there are several meanings of efficiency that we're going to look at in this video, but effectively they all link to how well the market system allocates scarce resources. And we would say that normally the market mechanism is pretty good at allocating resources, but there can be occasions when we're not fully efficient and when the market can fail. In this video we're going to look at three different types of efficiency. We're going to look at allocative efficiency, productive efficiency, and inefficiency. The first measure of efficiency we're going to look at is allocative efficiency. So allocative efficiency is when the price and output that the market produces maximizes total consumer welfare. So at the market equilibrium price here, we can see that consumer and producer surplus is maximized. So we have a price of P and a quantity being sold of T, and this maximizes the consumer surplus. If we were to have a different price, say a price P1 with a corresponding quantity, then the area of consumer surplus would be lower. So at this price P and quantity T, we have a maximization of welfare for consumers. And so we would say therefore that the market has given us an allocatively efficient result. We can also talk about allocative efficiency in terms of PPF. Allocative efficiency occurs when no one can be made better off without making someone else worse off. This is also sometimes known as Pareto efficiency. So for example, if we're producing at point A, we cannot move to point B in terms of a resource allocation without reducing the output of beer. So by moving from A to B, we have more cheese, but someone is worse off because we have less beer. So allocative efficiency occurs when the value that consumers place on a good or service, which is reflected by the price that they pay, equals the cost of the factor resources used up in production. So what we can say here effectively is the price, what people are willing to pay for something, is equal to the factors that are used in resource. So we're not wasting factors. We don't have a mismatch between how much people value the factors and the cost of the factors. So effectively what we're saying for allocative efficiency is that this exists when the market price equals the marginal cost of supply. So our basic rule for allocative efficiency is this occurs in a market where the price, the current market price, is the same as the marginal cost of production. So the price, what people value this item at, is the same as the cost in terms of resources. In that situation, we would say the market is allocatively efficient. Now let's move on and look at productive efficiency. Productive efficiency exists when producers minimize the wastage of resources. We can also relate this to the PPF when we say that an economy is productively efficient if we're on the PPF, i.e. there's no resources being wasted. In terms of our cost curves and looking at businesses, we would say that a business is productively efficient when they're producing at the lowest possible average cost. We cannot produce cheaper than this, so therefore we have the minimal amount, or we have minimized the wastage of resources at this particular level of output. So we would say that a business is productively efficient, or a market is productively efficient, if we're producing at the lowest possible average cost. Inefficiency is our final form of efficiency to look at. And X inefficiency is kind of not efficiency, it's opposite an inefficiency. X inefficiency exists where a firm's production costs are higher than they would be in a competitive market. So if on the right hand side here, this is our cost curve, but potentially we could have lower average costs if there was competition, and through competition there was an incentive to reduce costs. The difference we would call X inefficient. This business is X inefficient if this is their current level of costs, and this is potentially what could be their level of costs. Most often it's caused by a lack of competitive pressure. There's no need to reduce costs if there aren't many rivals. So in this video we've looked at 3 different types of efficiency. Allocative efficiency, where price equals the marginal cost of production. Productive efficiency, when we're producing at the lowest average cost. And finally X inefficiency, when businesses' costs are higher than they would otherwise be because of a lack of competition. That's it. Thanks very much for listening.